Welcome back to Infidelity Tales Lab. We're incredibly grateful for your support. Before we begin today's tale, tell us, which city or country are you joining us from? We love connecting with our global audience. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Whispers and Shadows. The aroma of blueberry pancakes wafted through the Sullivan household, accompanied by the delighted squeals of children at Finn's 10th birthday party. Liam Sullivan stood in the kitchen doorway, his broad shoulders tense as he observed the scene before him. His son, Finn, with unruly brown hair and bright eyes full of wonder, darted between his friends, completely immersed in their game of tag. "Dad, watch this!" Finn called out, performing an elaborate spin move to evade his friend Tommy's attempt to catch him. Liam forced a smile, clapping at his son's athleticism. "Nice moves, buddy." But his attention kept drifting to his wife, Evelyn, who stood across the room, her perfectly manicured fingers wrapped around a wine glass despite the early hour. Evelyn's sharp features were animated as she laughed at something Owen, Liam's brother, had just whispered in her ear. Her sleek designer dress seemed out of place at a children's party, but that was Evelyn, always dressed to impress, always performing. "More juice, please." A chorus of young voices called out, breaking Liam's concentration. "I'll handle it." Martha, Liam's mother, touched his arm gently as she passed. Her soft features belied the strength in her movements as she efficiently refilled plastic cups with fruit punch. Liam nodded, grateful for his mother's help. He'd been skeptical when his parents insisted on flying in from Maine for the party, but now he appreciated their presence. Something felt off today, a discordant note in what should have been a perfect family celebration. Owen's voice carried across the room, that familiar smirk evident in his tone. "Remember that deal we closed last month? Ev? Brilliant strategy." Liam's jaw clenched. When had Owen started calling her Ev? That was Liam's nickname for her, though he couldn't remember the last time he'd used it. Their marriage had become a series of parallel lines, existing side by side, but never truly intersecting. Liam, his father's gruff voice pulled him from his thoughts. "A word." Joseph Sullivan, a man of few words and strong principles, stood by the back door, his expression grave. Liam followed him onto the back patio, where the sounds of the party became muffled. "Son," Joseph began, then stopped, running a weathered hand through his gray hair. "There's something you need to know." "Joseph!" Martha's sharp voice cut through the air. She appeared in the doorway, her usually gentle demeanor replaced by steel. "A moment, please." Liam watched his parents retreat to a corner of the patio, their heated whispers carrying on the breeze. "Joseph, please don't tell him about her affair with his brother." Martha's urgent voice reached him. "Do you want to see him broken? The kids need both parents. It's just a few hotel wild nights with brother-in-law." The words hit Liam like physical blows. His mind refused to process them at first, rejecting the implications. His father's response drove the final nail home. "Fine, but when Finn turns 18, the truth about his real father must come out." The world around Liam seemed to freeze. The cheerful birthday decorations became grotesque mockeries of happiness. Every interaction between Evelyn and Owen that he dismissed as innocent suddenly took on new, horrifying meaning. He turned to look through the window. Evelyn was touching Owen's arm, laughing at something he'd said. The familiarity of the gesture made Liam's stomach turn. How long had he been blind to this? "Daddy!" Finn's voice pierced through his shock. "Time for cake." Liam squared his shoulders, years of controlling his emotions and high-stakes business meetings coming into play. He wouldn't ruin his son's birthday. But beneath his calm exterior, something dark and cold was taking root. Back inside, he watched as Evelyn orchestrated the cake ceremony with practiced efficiency. "Everyone gather round," she called, her marketing executive voice in full force. "Finn, sweetheart, right here in the center." Liam observed her performance with new eyes. How many other performances had he accepted without question? How many lies had he swallowed because trust was easier than doubt? "Make a wish, son," he said, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. Finn closed his eyes, his face scrunched in concentration before blowing out all 10 candles in one breath. The assembled parents and children cheered. Owen stepped forward, ruffling Finn's hair. "That's my boy," he said, the words hitting Liam like bullets. Liam's hands curled into fists, his nails digging into his palms. The pain helped him maintain his composure as he watched Owen, his brother, his betrayer, interact with Finn. His son. Or was he? Everything okay? Evelyn appeared at his side, her perfectly arranged features showing concern that now seemed as artificial as her designer smile. "Fine," Liam replied, the word tasting like ash in his mouth. "Just thinking about some work things." On Finn's birthday, she chided, playing the role of devoted wife. "You work too hard, darling." The endearment made his skin crawl. He watched her return to the party, to Owen, to their charade of normalcy. Each step she took away from him felt like another betrayal. The party continued around him as Liam's mind raced through years of memories, recontextualizing moment, interaction. Evelyn's late nights at the office, her sudden business trips, her growing closeness with Owen. It all formed a pattern he'd been too trusting to see. He excused himself, retreating to his home office. The room had become his sanctuary over the years, filled with architectural drawings and half-finished designs, dreams he'd put aside to support Evelyn's career. The irony tasted bitter. His phone buzzed. A text from his father. "Son, I'm sorry. There's more you need to know. The affair isn't just physical. They've been systematically undermining your position at work, your friendships. They want you out of the picture entirely." Liam's hand tightened around the phone until the case creaked. The cold feeling in his chest crystallized into something harder, sharper. He'd always been the reasonable one, the steady one, the one who compromised for the sake of peace. Not anymore. He opened his laptop, fingers flying over the keys as he accessed their joint accounts. Within minutes, he had transferred significant sums to private accounts Evelyn knew nothing about. It was just a first step. A knock at the door interrupted his planning. "Dad," Finn's voice called. "Mom says it's time for presents." "Be right there, buddy," Liam called back, his voice remarkably steady. He closed the laptop and stood, straightening his shoulders. He would play along for now. He would smile and laugh and pretend everything was normal. But beneath the surface, a new Liam was emerging, one who would make them pay for lie, betrayal, moment of happiness they'd stolen from him. The party wrapped up 2 hours later. As the last guest left, Evelyn began organizing the cleanup with her usual efficiency. "Owen, would you mind helping me with these decorations?" "Of course, sis," Owen replied, the familiar term now dripping with hidden meaning. Liam watched them work together, noting glance, accidental touch. His parents had already left for their hotel, his mother unable to meet his eyes as they said goodbye. "Finn's asleep," Evelyn announced, returning from upstairs. "Poor thing wore himself out." "I'm going out," Liam said abruptly, grabbing his keys. "Don't wait up. Everything okay?" Owen asked, concern in his voice that Liam now recognized as fake. "Fine," Liam replied, his tone neutral. "Just need some air." He drove aimlessly for hours, his mind working through scenarios, strategies, plans. By the time he checked into a cheap motel on the outskirts of town, he had the beginnings of a plan. They thought they could play him for a fool? They were about to learn exactly how dangerous a wounded man could be. Liam Sullivan wasn't just going to survive this betrayal. He was going to make sure they regretted ever underestimating him. He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Beatrice Rodriguez? I need your services. It's about my wife and brother. I want everything, meeting, call, dirty secret they think they've hidden." "Yes, I understand your rates. Money won't be an issue." As he hung up, Liam looked at his reflection in the motel's bathroom mirror. The kind, trusting man he'd been was gone. In his place stood someone harder, colder, someone capable of destroying those who'd betrayed him. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. But tonight, he allowed himself to feel the full weight of the betrayal. Let it forge him into something new. They wanted to break him? They'd learned that some things, once broken, became weapons. Chapter 2. The Cold Truth. The stale air of the motel room matched Liam's mood as he woke the next morning. His phone showed several missed calls from Evelyn, each one making his jaw clench tighter. He ignored them all. Instead, he called Beatrice B. Rodriguez again. The private investigator's no-nonsense voice was a relief after Evelyn's manufactured concern. Mr. Sullivan, BA's voice was crisp and professional. I've already started preliminary research. Your wife's digital footprint is interesting, meaning? Meaning she's careful, but not careful enough. I found several email accounts under aliases, all accessing the same hotel booking service. Want to guess who else uses that service? Owen. Liam's voice was flat. Bingo. I'm tracking their patterns now. But there's something else you should know. Your wife's company records show some unusual financial transfers. Nothing illegal on the surface, but the timing coincides with your brother's recent business successes. Could be coincidence. Liam laughed, a harsh sound devoid of humor. I stopped believing in coincidences about 12 hours ago. Send me everything you find. Detail matters. After hanging up, Liam opened his laptop. Time to start his own investigation. As an architect, he'd learned the importance of foundations. You couldn't build something strong on weak ground. The same principle applied to destruction. His phone buzzed again. Evelyn. This time he answered. Where are you? Her voice held just the right note of worry. I was concerned when you didn't come home. Needed some time to think, he replied, keeping his voice neutral. How's Finn? He asked about you at breakfast. I told him you had an early meeting. A pause. Will you be home tonight? Haven't decided. Liam. She hesitated. Is everything okay? You've been acting strange since the party. He almost admired her performance. Almost. Everything's fine, Evelyn. Just busy with work. Well, Owen's coming over for dinner. He's worried about you too. Maybe you could join us? The casual mention of his brother made Liam's free hand curl into a fist. Can't make it. Don't wait up. He hung up before she could respond and immediately called B again. I need surveillance on my house tonight. My wife's having dinner with my brother. Already arranged, B replied. I had a feeling they'd meet once you left. Don't worry, Mr. Sullivan. We'll document everything. Liam spent the day going through years of financial records. Business deal Owen had mysteriously landed, promotion Evelyn had received. He tracked them all, looking for patterns. By evening, his motel room walls were covered in printouts and notes. The picture emerging made his blood boil. Owen's sudden success wasn't just linked to Evelyn. It was entirely orchestrated by her. She'd been using her position to funnel deals his way, building his reputation while simultaneously undermining Liam's own business connections. His phone buzzed with a text from B. Attached were photos of Owen arriving at his house, carrying wine and what looked like takeout. Another photo showed Evelyn greeting him at the door, their embrace lasting too long to be merely familial. Liam forced himself to study each photo clinically, noting details, building evidence. He needed all for what was coming. A knock at his motel room door made him tense. He opened it to find his father standing there, looking older than Liam had ever seen him. Son, Joseph's voice was heavy. We need to talk. Liam let him in, watching as his father took in the wall of evidence. I see you've been busy. Did you know? Liam's voice was dangerously quiet. Before yesterday? Suspected, Joseph admitted. Your mother found some messages on Owen's phone when he visited last month. She wanted to protect you, give him a chance to end it naturally. And Finn? The question physically hurt to ask. Joseph's silence was answer enough. How long have they been planning this? Liam asked, his voice steady despite the rage building inside him. From what we've pieced together, about a year. They've been systematic about it. Owen's been building his business using Evelyn's connections, while she's been quietly undermining your professional relationships. They want me out of the picture, Liam concluded. Clean divorce, shared custody of Finn. Everyone moves on while I'm left with nothing. That seems to be the plan, Joseph agreed. Question is, what are you going to do about it? Liam turned to the wall of evidence, his expression hardening. I'm going to destroy them. Not quickly, not obviously. I'm going to dismantle everything they've built, piece by piece, until they have nothing left but each other. And then I'm going to take that too. Joseph studied his son's face. Gone was the easygoing man who avoided conflict. In his place stood someone harder, more dangerous. You'll need help? I've got to be investigating. Liam gestured to the photos. But yes, I'll need more. Your mother won't like it, but I know some people. Old friends who understand the importance of loyalty and the price of betrayal. Liam nodded slowly. I need everything they can find. Secret, lie, weakness. I want to know them better than they know themselves. His phone buzzed again. Another text from B. More photos, these showing Owen and Evelyn in the kitchen, standing too close, touching too casually. They think they're being careful, Liam observed, his voice cold. They think no one sees. What's your first move? Joseph asked. I'm going to give them exactly what they want. Liam smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. They want me distracted? I'll appear completely absorbed in work. They want me trusting? I'll play the devoted husband and brother. Meanwhile, he gestured to his laptop, where financial records glowed on the screen. I'm going to start moving pieces into place. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late. Joseph nodded slowly. You'll need a lawyer. Someone who can't be bought. Already thought of that. Remember Nora Hayes? We grew up together. She's a partner at Collins and Hayes now. Specializes in high-stakes divorces. She always was the clever one. Joseph smiled slightly. She'll understand what needs to be done. Liam's phone rang. Evelyn again. He let it go to voicemail, watching as another text from B came through. Owen was leaving. Another lingering embrace at the door. I should get back, Joseph stood. Your mother will be wondering where I am. Remember, son, whatever you need, we're here. After his father left, Liam returned to his work. He created spreadsheets tracking aspects of their lives: financial, professional, personal. Weakness, vulnerability, pressure point he could exploit. They thought they were destroying his life? He would show them what destruction really looked like. His phone buzzed one final time that night. A text from Evelyn. Please come home. We need to talk. Liam smiled coldly as he typed his response. Tomorrow. Everything's fine. Just busy with work. Let them think they had the upper hand. For now. Chapter 3. The Seeds of Retribution. Liam's transformation was evident in calculated move he made over the next few days. The warm, easygoing man who had once prioritized family harmony above all else was gone. In his place stood someone whose laser-like focus and icy demeanor sent subtle shivers through everyone who encountered him. Your preliminary report, B said, sliding a thick manila envelope across the cafe table. They'd chosen this location carefully, far from any of Evelyn or Owen's usual haunts. It's worse than we initially thought. Liam opened the envelope, his expression unchanging as he reviewed the contents. Photos, bank statements, email transcripts. Each piece of evidence adding another layer to the betrayal. They've been planning this for over a year, B continued, her voice professional but tinged with disgust. Your brother's business success? All orchestrated by Evelyn. She's been using her position to manipulate contracts, redirect clients, create opportunities for him, while simultaneously undermining your professional network. Show me, Liam demanded, spreading the documents across the table. B pointed to several financial statements. See these transfers? Carefully disguised as legitimate business transactions. Your wife's very good at making things look proper on the surface. But when you follow the money, it all leads back to Owen. Liam finished, his voice cold. What about their personal meetings? B pulled out another set of photos. Regular rendezvous at the Mayfield Hotel. Always booked under different names, paid in cash. They think they're being clever. She paused. There's something else you should know. Liam looked up from the documents, his eyes sharp. Tell me. They've been meeting with lawyers. High-powered divorce attorneys known for aggressive tactics. From what my sources tell me, they're planning to push for full custody of Finn. The coffee cup in Liam's hand cracked slightly under his grip. Are they now? They're building a case to paint you as an absent father, too focused on work to be a proper parent. They've been documenting late night at the office, missed school event. Liam's laugh was devoid of humor. All those late nights were spent supporting her career, her ambitions. He set the cracked cup down carefully. Time to change the game. He pulled out his phone, dialing a familiar number. Nora? It's Liam Sullivan. Remember that conversation we had last year about potentially partnering on some development projects? I think it's time we had a proper discussion about that. And I need your legal expertise on some personal matters. After arranging to meet Nora, Liam turned back to B. I need everything you can find on Owen's business dealings. Contract, client, dollar that's passed through his hands. Already working on it, B nodded. His financial history is interesting. Lots of unstable ventures before Evelyn started helping him. Several failed businesses, unpaid debts. He's been using her influence to paper over a lot of cracks. Perfect, Liam smiled, the expression reminiscent of a predator sizing up prey. Keep digging. I want to know every skeleton in their closets. The next few days saw Liam executing his plans. He met with Nora Hayes at her law office, the sleek environment matching her reputation for ruthless efficiency. Jesus, Liam, Nora said, reviewing the evidence he'd brought. I knew Owen was a snake, but this... She looked up at him. What do you want to do? I want to destroy them, Liam stated simply. Not just divorce Evelyn. I want to dismantle everything they've built together. I want their entire house of cards to come crashing down. Nora studied him for a moment. The Liam I knew in college would never talk like this. The Liam you knew in college died the moment he learned his wife and brother betrayed him. He leaned forward. Can you help me? Legally? Absolutely. You've got more than enough evidence for a favorable divorce settlement. But what you're talking about, it's going to get ugly. Good. Liam's voice was steel. I'm done playing nice. They spent hours strategizing, planning each move like a chess game. Nora's legal expertise, combined with Liam's architectural precision, created a blueprint for systematic destruction. First, Nora said, making notes, we secure your assets. I'll draft paperwork to protect your interests without alerting Evelyn. Then we start gathering ammunition. Business deal she helped Owen with, client she steered his way. I want his business empire dismantled piece by piece, Liam specified. Everything he built using her influence. I want it all exposed. That's doable, Nora nodded. But we need to be careful. One wrong move, and they'll know we're coming. Liam's phone buzzed, a text from Evelyn. Working late again tonight. Don't wait up. He showed it to Nora, who immediately started typing on her computer. Documenting everything. Lie excuse. It all builds our case. That evening, Liam returned home to find Finn working on homework at the kitchen table. The sight of his son, the question of his son, sent a fresh wave of pain through him, but he kept his expression neutral. Hey, buddy, he said, setting his briefcase down. How was school? Good. Finn looked up, his face brightening. We're learning about architecture in art class. I told everyone my dad's an architect. Liam felt his throat tighten. Despite everything, Finn's unconditional love remained constant. That's great, son. Want to show me what you're working on? As they went through Finn's homework together, Liam's phone buzzed with updates from B. Photos of Evelyn and Owen at their usual hotel, looking comfortable, confident, untouchable. Dad? Finn's voice pulled him back. Are you okay? You look angry. Liam forced his features to relax. Just some work stress, buddy. Nothing for you to worry about. He ruffled Finn's hair. How about we grab some ice cream? Later that night, after Finn was asleep and Evelyn still hadn't returned home, Liam sat in his home office reviewing everything they'd gathered. The evidence painted a clear picture of systematic betrayal, personal and professional. His phone rang. B again. Mr. Sullivan? We found something interesting in Owen's business records. Several of his recent contracts, they're not just questionable, they're potentially fraudulent. If this information were to reach the right people, send me everything, Liam ordered. And B, keep watching them. I want to know move they make. He opened his laptop, beginning to compile all the information they gathered. Piece of evidence, document, every photo, all carefully organized and backed up. They thought they were being clever, thought they had covered their tracks. They had no idea what was coming. The next morning, Liam maintained his routine as if nothing had changed. He kissed Evelyn goodbye, accepted her excuse about another late night at the office, played the role of trusting husband perfectly. But beneath the surface, everything had changed. Each step he took was calculated, each word measured. He was no longer just Liam Sullivan, the devoted husband and brother. He had become something else, something harder, colder, more dangerous. Let them think they had won. Let them believe their plan was working. Soon enough, they would learn the true cost of betrayal. As he walked into his office that morning, Liam allowed himself a small, cold smile. The pieces were in place. The game was set, and he was about to show them exactly what happened to those who dared to cross him. Chapter 4. The Web of Deceit. Evelyn's heels clicked against the marble floors of their home as she returned from her business trip. She found Liam in his study, meticulously reviewing architectural plans. "You're working late," she said, her voice carrying that practiced concern she'd perfected over years of deception. Liam looked up, his face an expressionless mask. Big project. He'd learned to school his features. To hide the rage that simmered beneath time, he looked at her. "How was the trip?" "Productive." Evelyn set her designer bag down, studying him. "You seem different." "Do I?" Liam's fingers tapped on his desk. Each tap represented another piece of evidence being collected, another nail in Evelyn's coffin. "Maybe I'm just focused on work." Later that night, as Evelyn slept, Liam sat in his study, coordinating with his growing network of allies. His laptop screen glowed with multiple chat windows, BEA's latest surveillance reports, Nora's legal strategies, and most importantly, the carefully crafted persona he'd created to trap Owen. "Mr. Winchester," Owen's eager message popped up in one window. "I've reviewed the investment proposal. The returns look incredible." Liam smiled coldly. Owen had always been greedy, always looking for the easy path to wealth. Now that very greed would be his undoing. "Indeed," he typed back using his alias. "I believe this could be the opportunity of a lifetime." A knock interrupted his work. "Dad?" Finn's voice called softly. "Come in, buddy." Liam quickly minimized his screens. His son's presence was the only thing that could soften his expression these days. Finn patted in, clutching a book. "I can't sleep. Could you maybe tell me about architecture again?" Liam pulled his son close, sharing his passion for design and structure. These moments were his anchor, reminding him why every calculated move against Evelyn and Owen was necessary. The next morning, BEA's report arrived encrypted in his email. Subject: maintaining routine appearances at tech firm. However, internal sources indicate growing concerns about financial discrepancies in her department. Liam had been meticulously feeding information to key people in Evelyn's company through untraceable channels. Small inconsistencies at first, just enough to raise eyebrows. Then larger questions about certain contracts, particularly ones involving Owen's businesses. "Any reaction from O?" Liam messaged B, increasingly agitated. "3 meetings with financial advisors this week. The investment opportunity has him borrowing heavily." Perfect. Owen's desperation was making him careless, taking loans he couldn't repay to invest in Liam's fictional venture. Evelyn's voice carried from downstairs. "Liam? The Hendersons invited us for dinner Friday." "Can't make it," he called back. "Deadline for the Portland project." He heard her sigh, playing her role of the patient wife. If only she knew that supposedly secure email she sent, private phone call she made, meeting she thought was secret was being monitored, documented, archived as evidence. A message from Nora popped up. "Meeting with Judge Reynolds today. He's reviewing the preliminary evidence package." Liam's reply was succinct. "Everything in place?" "Yes. The financial trail we've uncovered." "Liam, it's worse than we thought. They've been systematically undermining you for months. Using company resources, manipulating contracts." His jaw tightened. "Keep building the case. I want it airtight." That evening, Evelyn cornered him in the kitchen. "Is everything okay? You've been distant lately." Liam met her gaze steadily. "Just focused on work? Speaking of which, how are things at the firm?" A flicker of unease crossed her face. "Fine. Why do you ask?" "Heard rumors about an internal audit." He watched her carefully. "Something about financial irregularities?" "Nothing to worry about," she said quickly. Too quickly. "Just standard procedure." Liam nodded, letting her think she deflected his concern. Meanwhile, his phone buzzed with another update from B. "You making call to O, recording incoming." Later, listening to the recording, Liam's suspicions were confirmed. They were panicking, realizing their carefully constructed world was starting to crumble. "Something's wrong," Evelyn's voice hissed in the recording. "They're looking into the Thompson contract." Owen's reply was tense. "Stay calm. They can't trace it back to us. We just need to hold on until everything's in place. And Liam? He's been asking questions. He suspects nothing, Owen scoffed. My brother's always been too trusting for his own good. Liam's hand clenched around his phone. Let them think that. Let them believe he was still the same naive man they'd been fooling all along. A message from his fake investor account made his phone buzz. Mr. Owen, excellent news. The paperwork for the investment is ready. Shall we meet to finalize details? Owen's reply was immediate. Absolutely. Name the time and place. Liam looked at the latest bank statements he had obtained. Owen had leveraged himself to the hilt, betting everything on this non-existent opportunity. The trap was about to snap shut. The next day, Liam maintained his routine. He drove Finn to school, discussing the boys' upcoming science project. These moments of normalcy were crucial, not just for appearances but for Finn's stability. Dad, Finn said as he got out of the car. Are you and Mom okay? Liam's heart clenched. We're working through some things, buddy. But I promise you, everything I do is to protect our family. Back home, he found Evelyn in her home office, voice tense as she spoke on the phone. What do you mean they're freezing the accounts? That's impossible. Liam walked past, suppressing a smile. The first domino was falling. That evening, his phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. Attached were photos of Evelyn and Owen together, clearly meant to shock or hurt him. Liam forwarded them to B with a simple message, trace this. Her reply came minutes later, already on it. They're getting sloppy, desperate. Good. Let them make mistakes. Let them think they were forcing his hand when every move they made was exactly what he'd anticipated. The next week passed in a carefully orchestrated dance. Liam maintained his role as the preoccupied husband while Evelyn grew increasingly agitated as more irregularities surfaced at her company. Mr. Winchester continued to string Owen along, requesting larger commitments, more significant risks. Owen, blinded by greed and the promise of easy wealth, fell for carefully laid trap. Finally, Evelyn cracked. They're investigating me. She confronted Liam one night. Someone's been feeding them information. Liam looked up from his work, his face a study in mild concern. That sounds serious. Do you need a lawyer? Don't you care? She demanded. This could ruin everything we've built. Everything we've built, Liam repeated softly, letting just a hint of steel enter his voice. Interesting choice of words, Evelyn. She stepped back, something in his tone finally registering. What does that mean? It means, Liam stood slowly, that the truth always finds its way to the surface. Maybe you should be less concerned about your job and more worried about finding a good defense attorney. The color drained from her face as understanding dawned. You know? Consider finding a new job, Liam said calmly. Your current position won't be yours much longer. He walked past her frozen form, heading upstairs to check on Finn. Behind him, he heard her fumbling for her phone, no doubt rushing to warn Owen. Let them panic. Let them scramble. Reaction, desperate move, attempt to save themselves would only entangle them further in the web he'd woven. The game was entering its final phase, and Liam Sullivan was holding all the cards. Chapter 5. Unmasking the Enemy. The mahogany conference table in Nora Hayes' office gleamed as Liam spread out the latest evidence. Photos, bank statements, and email transcripts created a damning mosaic of betrayal. They've filed the custody petition, Nora said, her voice tight with controlled anger. As we expected, they're painting you as an absent father, emotionally unstable. Liam's face remained impassive. Show me their strategy. Nora handed him a thick legal document. They're claiming your recent behavior shows signs of paranoia. They've documented late night at the office, missed school events I missed supporting her career. Liam's voice carried a dangerous edge. Do we have the counter evidence ready? Better. Nora pulled out another file. We've documented time Evelyn chose work over Finn. Plus, testimony from his teachers about your involvement in his education. But that's not the best part. She smiled grimly. The financial evidence just came in. Across town, Owen Sullivan sat in his expensive office, staring at his computer screen in growing panic. The investment he'd made with Mr. Winchester seemed to be evaporating before his eyes. His phone buzzed. Evelyn. Have you seen the court filings? Her voice was sharp with fear. Liam knows everything. He has proof of the contracts, the deals, everything. Impossible. Owen snapped, but uncertainty gnawed at him. We were careful. Were we? Evelyn's laugh held an edge of hysteria. My company's internal affairs team is investigating me. Key accounts are frozen. This isn't coincidence, Owen. Mr. Winchester's investment will cover any losses, Owen insisted. Once that deal closes, and when exactly is that happening? Evelyn's voice dripped sarcasm. We're exposed, Owen. Vulnerable. And your mysterious investor keeps demanding more money. Owen slammed down the phone. He pulled up his banking app, staring at the dwindling numbers. He'd leveraged everything on this deal. His house, his business assets, even loans from less reputable sources. His computer pinged with a new email from Mr. Winchester. Urgent meeting required. Final paperwork ready. Bring full documentation of transferred funds. Meanwhile, Liam sat in BEA's sparse office, reviewing surveillance footage. They're cracking, B observed. Making mistakes. Show me? She pulled up several screens. Evelyn's been making calls to old colleagues, trying to secure a position elsewhere. No takers. Seems her reputation's been compromised. And Owen? Bleeding money into your fake investment scheme. He's borrowed from some dangerous people, Mr. Sullivan. When this falls apart, that's his problem. Liam's voice was cold. What about the offshore accounts? Found them. 3 separate accounts in the Caymans. They've been funneling money for months, preparing for their escape. Not anymore. Liam smiled thinly. Those accounts have been frozen, pending investigation. A knock interrupted them. Nora entered, holding a tablet. You need to see this. Owens just filed for emergency bankruptcy protection. Right on schedule, Liam nodded. Time to spring the trap. That evening, Liam drove to Owen's office building. His brother's face showed surprise when he walked in unannounced. Liam? What are you? Sit down, Owen. Liam's voice was quiet, but carried such authority that Owen complied automatically. I'm actually in the middle of something. Meeting with Mr. Winchester? Liam raised an eyebrow. Funny thing about that, he placed a folder on Owen's desk. Inside were all the communications between Owen and the fictional investor, along with bank transfers and loan documents. How did you? Owen's face drained of color as realization dawned. Amazing what greed does to people, Liam observed coldly. Makes them sloppy. Makes them trust mysterious investors who seem too good to be true. It was you. Did you really think I was the same trusting fool you've been manipulating all these years? Liam's voice carried genuine curiosity. That I wouldn't notice you and Evelyn systematically dismantling my life? Owen stood, desperation making him bold. Listen, brother, don't. Liam's voice cracked like a whip. You lost the right to call me that when you betrayed me. When you tried to steal my son. What do you want? Want? Liam smiled, the expression devoid of warmth. I want you to understand something, Owen. Everything you're about to lose, your business, your reputation, your freedom, you did this to yourself. Your greed, your betrayal, your arrogance, they led you right where I needed you to be. He placed another document on the desk. The SEC is very interested in your recent business dealings. Fraud carries significant prison time, Owen. You can't prove anything. Actually, Liam pulled out his phone, showing emails between Owen and Evelyn discussing their plans. I can prove everything. You're careful planning? I've known about it for months. Step you took thinking you were destroying me just gave me more ammunition. Owen slumped in his chair, defeat written across his features. What about Evelyn? She'll face her own reckoning. Liam stood. You both thought you could take everything from me. Instead, you've lost everything yourselves. He walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and Owen? Those loans you took from less legitimate sources? They're calling them in. All of them. Tonight. The color drained from Owen's face. They both knew what that meant. Liam left his brother's office without looking back. In his car, he called B. It's done. Start the next phase. That night, as news of Owen's financial collapse spread through business circles, Evelyn paced their bedroom, phone clutched to her ear. What do you mean you can't help me? I built your entire division. Liam watched from the doorway as her professional life crumbled. Former allies disappeared. Connections vanished, doors slammed shut. Problems? He asked mildly. Evelyn spun to face him, her composed mask finally cracking. You did this. Did what exactly? Liam's voice remained calm. Expose your corruption? Reveal your affair? Uncover your plans to take my son? He stepped closer. Or did I simply let you and Owen destroy yourselves with your own greed and betrayal? You don't understand? I understand perfectly. Liam cut her off. I understand meeting, phone call, secret plan you made. I understand how you used me. Used my trust. Used my love for our family. Liam, please. Save it for court, he advised. You'll need all your considerable acting skills to explain your actions to a judge. He turned to leave, then paused. By the way, those photos you sent? Trying to hurt me with evidence of your affair? Next time, check the metadata. It makes tracking the source so much easier. Evelyn's mask shattered completely as she realized the full extent of her husband's transformation. The man before her wasn't the trusting, malleable spouse she'd manipulated for years. This was someone else entirely. Someone capable of destroying everything she'd built without a trace of mercy. As if reading her thoughts, Liam smiled. You and Owen thought you were playing chess. You never realized you were just pieces on my board. He left her standing there, her perfect world collapsing around her, and went to check on Finn. His son was working on homework, innocent of the storm raging around him. Everything okay, Dad? Everything's fine, buddy. Liam helped him with his math problems, his vengeful persona softening only for his son. Sometimes people make bad choices and have to face the consequences. But I'll always be here to protect you. Later that night, his phone lit up with messages from his network of allies. Owen's business partners were abandoning him in droves as evidence of his fraudulent practices emerged. Evelyn's professional reputation was in tatters as investigations into her dealings intensified. Liam sat in his study, reviewing the aftermath of his carefully orchestrated destruction. Phase 1 was complete. Now for the final act. Chapter 6. The Turning Tide. The courthouse buzzed with tension as Liam strode through the marble halls, Nora Hayes matching his purposeful stride. Today would change everything. Final evidence package is ready, Nora whispered, passing him a sleek tablet. Document authenticated, witness prepared, transaction traced. Inside the courtroom, Evelyn sat with her legal team, her designer outfit and perfect makeup a stark contrast to her obvious anxiety. Owen wasn't present, his own legal troubles keeping him occupied elsewhere. Judge Harrison, a stern-faced woman in her 60s, studied the documents before her with growing concern. Mrs. Sullivan, these financial records are deeply troubling. Evelyn's lawyer stood. Your Honor, these allegations are baseless. Baseless? Nora's voice cut through the air as she approached the bench. We have documented proof of systematic embezzlement, corporate fraud, and misuse of company resources. She gestured to the screen where evidence was being displayed. Mrs. Sullivan didn't just betray her husband personally. She used her position to orchestrate a complex scheme of financial manipulation. Liam watched as each piece of evidence landed like physical blows. Bank statements showing suspicious transfers. Email threads revealing calculated deception. Phone records documenting the conspiracy. Furthermore, Nora continued, Mrs. Sullivan's attempts to portray Mr. Sullivan as an unfit father are particularly egregious given the evidence. She produced statements from Finn's teachers, school records, and documentation of Liam's consistent presence in his son's life. During a brief recess, Liam received a text from O's business partners filed lawsuits. Criminal charges pending. He's completely ruined. Perfect. Owen's downfall was proceeding exactly as planned. Back in session, Evelyn's composure finally cracked under Nora's relentless questioning. Yes, she admitted, her voice barely audible. I used company resources to help Owen's business ventures. And the plan to take Finn away from his father? Evelyn's silence spoke volumes. Judge Harrison's voice cut through the tension. I've seen enough. Mr. Sullivan approached the bench. Liam stood, his expression neutral despite the victory within reach. The evidence presented here today reveals a disturbing pattern of deception and manipulation. Mrs. Sullivan's actions show a complete disregard for both corporate ethics and family obligations. The judge's tone was heavy with disapproval. "I'm granting full custody of the minor child to Mr. Sullivan." Evelyn made a small, broken sound. Furthermore, the judge continued, "Given the evidence of financial misconduct, I'm freezing all remaining joint assets pending further investigation. Mrs. Sullivan, you should expect to hear from the district attorney's office regarding potential criminal charges." Outside the courtroom, Liam received another update from his network. Evelyn's company had officially terminated her employment. The carefully leaked evidence of her corruption had done its work. Her career was in shambles. "Dad?" Finn's voice came from behind him. He'd been waiting with Liam's parents during the proceedings. Liam turned, his hard expression softening. "Hey, buddy. Ready to go home? Is Mom in trouble?" "Your mom made some bad choices," Liam explained carefully. "Now she has to face the consequences." That evening, as Finn slept peacefully upstairs, Liam sat in his study reviewing the day's events. His phone buzzed with a news alert. Owen's company was declaring bankruptcy amid allegations of fraud. His brother's carefully constructed empire was crumbling to dust. Nora called with an update. The judge's ruling is being processed. Evelyn's lawyers are talking about appeals, but they have nothing to work with. "It's over, Liam. You won." But Liam wasn't finished. Winning wasn't enough. He needed to ensure they could never hurt anyone again. He opened his laptop, initiating the final phase of his plan. "Mr. Sullivan," his digital security team reported, "we've begun the systematic scrubbing of their online presence. Their professional profiles, business connections, everything they built through deception. It's all being erased." "Good. Let them fade into obscurity, their names becoming cautionary tales in whispered conversations." He looked at a photo of Finn on his desk, his son's innocent smile reminding him why calculated move, ruthless decision had been necessary. He hadn't just fought for revenge. He'd fought to protect his child from manipulators and liars. A text from his father. "Son, you did what needed to be done. They brought this on themselves." Liam stood, walking to the window. In the reflection, he saw not the trusting man who had been betrayed, but someone stronger, more formidable. Someone who had turned betrayal into a weapon and used it to dismantle his enemies piece by piece. His phone buzzed one final time, an update from his surveillance team. Evelyn was leaving town, her reputation and career in ruins. Owen had disappeared, running from creditors and criminal charges. Liam smiled, but there was no warmth in it. They had tried to destroy his life, take his son, break his spirit. Instead, he had ruthlessly destroyed everything they had built through deception. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. He would need to help Finn adjust to rebuild their lives on a foundation of truth rather than lies. But for now, he allowed himself to savor the completion of his carefully orchestrated revenge. The storm had passed, and Liam Sullivan stood unbroken, unbowed, and victorious. Chapter 7. Rebuilding and Reflection. The glass-walled conference room of Sullivan Architectural Design buzzed with energy as Liam reviewed plans for their latest project, a cutting-edge corporate headquarters that would redefine the Boston skyline. "The structural innovations here are remarkable," commented James Chun, one of the senior architects Liam had recruited. "This could revolutionize how we approach sustainable design." Liam nodded, studying the intricate details they'd spent months perfecting. His new firm had quickly established itself as an industry leader, known for bold vision and uncompromising standards. Just like everything else in his life now, he'd built it on a foundation of strength and absolute control. "Dad!" Finn's voice interrupted the meeting. The 12-year-old burst in, waving a paper. "I got an A+ on my design project." The assembled architects smiled, used to these interruptions. Liam's dedication to his son was as well known as his professional excellence. "That's fantastic, buddy." Liam examined the architectural model Finn had created. "The proportions are perfect. Ms. Reynolds said I have a natural talent." Finn beamed. "Just like you." Liam felt a familiar surge of protective love. 2 years had passed since the divorce, since he'd systematically destroyed Evelyn and Owen's lives. He'd never regretted his actions. They'd been necessary to protect what mattered most. Mr. Sullivan, his assistant, appeared at the door. Ms. Hayes is here for your lunch meeting. Nora waited in his office, reviewing case files. Their relationship had evolved naturally in the aftermath of the divorce, built on a foundation of trust and shared experiences. The monitoring reports came in, she said without preamble. Evelyn tried applying for a position at Martinez Corporation, and they rejected her immediately. Your network made sure her reputation preceded her. Nora's smile held satisfaction. She's still working that entry-level sales job in Chicago. Liam absorbed this information with cool detachment. He'd ensured Evelyn would never regain her former status, that every attempt to rebuild would be met with carefully orchestrated resistance. Owen, still in Arizona, working as a junior accountant under strict supervision. The fraud charges destroyed any chance of him handling significant accounts again. Perfect. His brother's punishment continued exactly as planned. How's the foundation coming along? Nora changed subjects, knowing Liam preferred not to dwell on his ex-wife and brother. The first scholarship recipients start college this fall, Liam replied. He'd established the Sullivan Foundation to support children from broken homes, turning his experience into something constructive without sacrificing his edge. Dad, Finn appeared again. Can we work on my new design after school? Absolutely. Liam checked his watch. Have you eaten lunch? I was hoping we could get pizza with Nora. Finn gave her a hopeful look. Their relationship had developed naturally, with Nora never pushing, always respecting the boundaries between them. Over pizza, Liam observed his son's easy interaction with Nora. He'd been careful about introducing her into Finn's life, ensuring the transition was smooth and natural. I heard Tommy's mom asking about Mom yesterday, Finn mentioned casually. I told her what you always say, that sometimes adults make choices that hurt people and have to face the consequences. Liam squeezed his son's shoulder. He'd never lied to Finn about what happened, never painted himself as a victim, but also never revealed the full extent of his retribution. Back at the office, Liam reviewed the latest surveillance reports. He maintained a network of contacts who kept him informed of Evelyn and Owen's movements, not out of fear or obsession, but strategic necessity. He needed to ensure they could never rebuild enough power to threaten his family again. The Chicago branch reported Evelyn's been reaching out to old contacts. His security consultant informed him. All attempts were rebuffed. Maintain the protocols, Liam ordered. Any suspicious financial activity? None. The restrictions you put in place are holding. Neither of them can access any significant resources. Good. His revenge hadn't been a brief act of punishment. It was an ongoing campaign to ensure permanent consequences for their betrayal. That evening, as he helped Finn with homework, Liam reflected on how far they'd come. His son was thriving, showing interest in architecture and developing a strong moral compass. Dad, Finn asked suddenly, are you happy now? Liam considered the question carefully. I'm content with where we are, he answered honestly. I have my work, I have you, and we're building something meaningful. And Nora, she's become an important part of our lives, Liam acknowledged. His relationship with Nora had grown stronger, but he never let it make him vulnerable. He'd learned his lesson about blind trust. Later that night, Liam received an unexpected call from his father. Son, Joseph's voice was grave. Evelyn tried contacting your mother. When? Yesterday. Martha hung up immediately, but Joseph paused. She was asking about Finn. Liam's voice turned to ice. She lost all rights to information about my son. Make sure Mom understands that. She does. We all remember what Evelyn did. Joseph cleared his throat. You protected our family, son. Never doubt that. After hanging up, Liam made several calls, reinforcing the barriers he'd put in place. Evelyn's attempt to reach out would cost her. He made sure her current employer received an anonymous tip about her past. Some might call it cruel, this continued punishment. Liam saw it as necessary protection. He'd built a new life from the ashes of their betrayal. But he never forgot the lesson. Mercy to enemies was cruelty to those you protected. A text from Nora interrupted his thoughts. Dinner tomorrow? Finn mentioned wanting to show us his new designs. Liam smiled slightly. This was his victory. not just destroying those who'd betrayed him, but building something stronger in the aftermath. A life where he maintained absolute control while nurturing what mattered most. Chapter 8. Justice and Closure. The sleek monitors in Liam's private office displayed multiple surveillance feeds. Each screen showed a different aspect of his ongoing campaign to ensure Evelyn and Owen never recovered from their downfall. "Sir," his head of security, Marcus, pointed to one screen. "We've detected unusual activity." Owen attempted to establish a new business venture under an alias. Liam's expression hardened. "Show me." Marcus pulled up the details. Owen had tried to leverage an old contact in Texas, using a false identity to circumvent the restrictions Liam had put in place. "Shut it down," Liam ordered. "Make sure his contact understands the consequences of dealing with Owen Sullivan." "Already done." "We've also flagged his alias in all major financial systems." Liam nodded in approval. His network of allies had grown into a sophisticated operation, ensuring his enemies remained contained. A notification popped up on his private phone, a message from one of his sources in Chicago. He attempted contact with former client. Intercepted and neutralized. "They're getting desperate," Nora observed from the doorway. She entered carrying a thick legal file. The quarterly monitoring reports show increased attempts to rebuild their networks. "Desperation makes them sloppy," Liam replied. "Each attempt just gives us more leverage." He reviewed the reports with clinical detachment. Evelyn's latest job application had been rejected after a routine background check revealed her history. Owen's attempt to secure a loan had been flagged by the system Liam had put in place. "The digital scrubbing team reports complete success," Marcus added. "Any attempt to search their names brings up only the official records of their crimes." Liam allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. His revenge wasn't just about punishment. It was about complete erasure of their former power and influence. "Dad?" Finn's voice interrupted the meeting. "Remember my archery competition is today?" "Of course." Liam immediately began shutting down the monitors. No matter how important his surveillance operation was, Finn always came first. "I wouldn't miss it." At the competition, Liam watched proudly as his son demonstrated perfect form and concentration. Finn had grown more confident over the past 2 years, thriving under his father's guidance. "He's really talented," Nora commented, joining them after the event. "Just like his father, focused and precise." Liam squeezed her hand, one of his rare displays of public affection. Their relationship had deepened, but he never let it interfere with his primary mission of protecting his family. Later that evening, an urgent message demanded his attention. One of Owen's former business partners had considered working with him again. "Mr. Reynolds," Liam's voice was cool as he made the call. "I understand you've been in contact with Owen Sullivan." Yes, but perhaps you need a reminder of why. That's a poor decision." Liam's tone left no room for argument. "Check your email. You'll find detailed documentation of Owen's previous fraudulent activities. Would you like your board to receive copies?" "That won't be necessary," Reynolds rushed to assure him. "I'll cut all contact immediately." After hanging up, Liam reviewed the latest intelligence reports. His network had expanded beyond mere surveillance. It now included influential figures in every major industry, all committed to ensuring Evelyn and Owen never regained their former status. "Mr. Sullivan," his assistant interrupted. "Your father is here." Joseph Sullivan entered the office, his expression serious. "Son, we need to talk about Martha." "What's wrong?" Evelyn sent her a letter, trying to appeal to her grandmother's heart about Finn. Joseph handed over the unopened envelope. "Martha wanted you to have it." Liam examined the letter without opening it. Another attempt at manipulation, another futile effort to breach the walls he'd built. "Thank her for bringing this to me," he said, feeding the letter into his shredder. "And remind her that any contact from Evelyn should be reported immediately. She knows." Joseph watched the letter disappear. "She also wanted me to tell you. She's proud of how you've protected Finn." Liam nodded, acknowledging the support without letting it soften his resolve. His parents had finally understood that his actions, though harsh, had been necessary. That night, as he helped Finn with a new architectural model, Liam received another update. Evelyn had lost her latest job after her employer discovered her history. "Dad," Finn said suddenly. Tommy said he saw Mom's picture in an old newspaper article. About the fraud, Liam set down his tools, giving his son his full attention. "What do you think about that?" "I think," Finn considered carefully. "She made her choices. Like you always say, actions have consequences." Pride mixed with satisfaction in Liam's chest. His son understood justice, understood that weakness in the face of betrayal only invited more pain. A message from his security team interrupted. "Surveillance confirms attempted dark web activity. Neutralized and traced." Adding new restrictions to his digital footprint. Perfect. Every attempt they made to escape their fate only tightened the noose he'd placed around their necks. "Sir," Marcus appeared at his door. "The quarterly containment reports are ready. Both targets remain fully controlled. No significant resources, no meaningful connections, no chance of recovery." Liam reviewed the reports with satisfaction. His revenge wasn't just complete. It was ongoing, a perpetual reminder that betrayal carried permanent consequences. "Maintain the protocols," he ordered. "I want them to feel the walls closing in every time they try to rebuild." Later that night, as he sat in his study reviewing architectural plans, Liam reflected on his journey. He'd transformed from a trusting husband into someone stronger, someone who understood that true protection required constant vigilance. A final report came in, the attempted therapy session discussing past. Therapist received anonymous documentation of her crimes. Session terminated. Liam smiled coldly. Let them try to find peace. Let them seek redemption. His system would ensure they found only closed doors and fresh reminders of their sins. His phone buzzed, a message from Finn. "Thanks for coming to my competition today, Dad. You never miss anything important." This was his real victory. Not just destroying his enemies, but building an unshakable foundation for his son's future. A future where betrayal would never touch them again. Chapter 9. The Legacy of Strength. 5 years had passed since Liam Sullivan had orchestrated the complete destruction of Evelyn and Owen's lives. His architectural firm had become an industry leader, known for innovative designs and uncompromising standards. "The Beijing contract is finalized," announced James Chun during the morning executive meeting. "That's our third international project this quarter." Liam nodded, reviewing the contract details. Success had come not through compromise, but through maintaining absolute control and unwavering standards. Lessons learned from his personal battles. "Dad!" 15-year-old Finn burst into the conference room, his excitement palpable. "I got accepted into the summer architecture program at MIT. The assembled executive smiled, used to these interruptions. Everyone knew that despite Liam's formidable reputation in business, his son always took priority. "Congratulations." Liam stood, pride evident in his expression. "You earned this." Later, in his private office, Liam reviewed the latest surveillance reports. Even after 5 years, he maintained tight control over Evelyn and Owen's lives. "Sir," Marcus entered with fresh intel. Monthly status update on the targets. Report: he remains in Chicago, still working commission-based sales. 3 more failed attempts to secure corporate positions. O continues under surveillance in Arizona. Recent attempt to establish an online business was shut down within hours. Liam absorbed the information with satisfaction. Time hadn't softened his approach to punishment. Attempt they made to rebuild was met with swift, ruthless opposition. The digital team intercepted another email from "E to your mother," Marcus continued. Standard appeal for information about Finn. Blocked and logged. Increase monitoring, Liam ordered. If she's getting desperate enough to try multiple contacts, she might attempt something foolish. A knock interrupted them. Nora, carrying lunch and wedding venue brochures. Their relationship had deepened over the years, but Liam had never let it make him vulnerable. "The children's wing of the Sullivan Foundation Hospital is ahead of schedule," she reported, setting down the food. The board is impressed with the design innovations. The foundation had become another tool in Liam's arsenal, not just helping children from broken homes, but establishing his power and influence in the community. Every charitable act strengthened his network of allies. "Mr. Sullivan," His assistant appeared. "Your father's here with urgent news." Joseph entered, his expression grave. Owen tried to contact Finn directly. Sent a letter to his school. Liam's face hardened. "When?" "This morning. The school administrator called me immediately, following your protocols." The letter was intercepted. "Increase security at the school," Liam ordered Marcus. "I want every staff member rebriefed on contact protocols." "Already done, sir." "We're also tracing how O got the school's address." Later that evening, during dinner with Finn and Nora, Liam observed his son's growth. Finn had inherited his father's precision and drive, but none of the pain that had forged Liam's harder edges. "The Foundation's youth program wants me to speak at their career day," Finn mentioned, "about pursuing dreams despite family challenges. Are you comfortable with that?" Liam asked, always careful about how much of their past Finn shared publicly. "I think it's important," Finn replied thoughtfully. "Like you always say, our experiences can either break us or make us stronger." A message lit up Liam's phone, urgent from Chicago team. He attempted contact with Finn's former classmate's parent. Intercepted and handled. "Everything okay?" Nora noticed his expression. "Just business," Liam replied smoothly, already composing orders for increased surveillance. Later that night, in his study, Liam reviewed the quarterly reports on his ongoing campaign. Each page detailed how thoroughly he'd erased Evelyn and Owen's ability to rebuild their lives. A video call came in from his head of digital security. "Sir, we've completed the annual digital scrub. Any search for either target now returns only their criminal records and documented frauds." "Excellent. Maintain the algorithmic suppression. I want their names permanently associated with their crimes." His phone buzzed with a message from Marcus. "Monthly financial review complete. Both targets remain in controlled poverty. All attempts at advancement successfully blocked." Perfect. His revenge wasn't just about past punishment. It was about ensuring they felt the consequences of their betrayal single day. "Dad?" Finn appeared in the doorway. "Can we review my MIT application portfolio?" Liam immediately set aside the reports. These moments with his son, seeing him grow, achieve, and thrive, were his true victory. As they worked on the portfolio, Finn asked suddenly, "Do you ever think about Mom and Uncle Owens?" "I think about the lessons they taught us," Liam answered carefully. "About trust, consequences, and the importance of being strong." "Tommy's mom said she saw Mom working at a call center in Chicago," Finn mentioned. "She looked different." "People who betray their family often find their lives changed permanently," Liam responded, his tone firm but not angry. "They made their choices." Later that night, after Finn had gone to bed, Liam sat with Nora in his study. Their upcoming wedding would be modest but significant, a statement about rebuilding without forgetting the lessons of the past. "The Foundation's legal team wants to expand our advocacy work," Nora mentioned. "Help more families navigate betrayal and recovery." Liam nodded. He'd transformed his experience into a force for change, but never at the cost of his strength or principles. His phone lit up with a final report for the day. Surveillance confirms E and O remain isolated, controlled, and contained. Legacy protocols functioning at 100% efficiency. This was his true legacy, not just personal success or family happiness, but the absolute certainty that those who had betrayed him would never escape the consequences of their actions. He had built a new life from the ashes of betrayal, stronger and more powerful than before. "Ready for tomorrow's board meetings?" Nora asked, reviewing some papers. "Always." Liam smiled slightly. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to demonstrate his strength and protect what he'd built. His enemies remained crushed, his family was thriving, and his power only grew stronger with each passing year. He was no longer just Liam Sullivan, the betrayed husband. He had become something more, a man who had turned betrayal into strength, pain into power, and revenge into an art form. His story wasn't just about survival. It was about rising from betrayal to create a legacy of unshakable strength and absolute control. As he looked out over the city he'd helped shape, Liam felt neither regret nor doubt. Decision, act of retribution had served a greater purpose, protecting his family and ensuring that betrayal would never touch them again. This was his victory, his legacy.